Hey everybody, this is Max Farrow and this is Dex Trader and this is Trading Live with Dex. In this particular trade, we're going to be looking at the Audi JPY on the sell at 82 at 91%. So I'm in a bit of a rush to kind of get over there because I don't want this thing moving around all over the place. Since that we are in a sell pattern here, I'm going to shoot over to my regular charts. Looks like I've been moving some stuff around, so I do apologize. Just give me a second here. Normally I'm pretty organized with this kind of stuff. There we go. Okay, we're in a sell pattern. I'm going to kind of jump into this, but I'm looking at 82.71 as a big support area right now. So I'm going to 82.97 on the sell. 82.97 on the sell. Let's. Boy, I'm all over the place this morning. This is from 10 to 12, or it's supposed to be from 9 to 11 since it's 10 to. So 82.97 on the sell. 82.97 on the sell. 82.97. There's 82.96 on the sell. But again, we have really fallen almost 20 points at that point. Market's in a fluctuation at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and place a working order on here for 25 minutes or for $25 profit margin. And I'm going to get to a point where in the last 15 minutes of the trade, I will, if it hasn't fulfilled by then, from now till 10:45, I will pull the trade off of the live market. I will not trade a working order past the last 15 minutes. Study showed about the last 15 minutes trade working orders that are on, they will lose in the last 5 minutes that get filled within the last 15 minutes. I know in the previous video I could have sort of stapled this into your head. I just want you to keep in mind that process too. So working orders are not set and forget. Set your alarm on your watches, on your phones, whatever, at 10:45, which I'm doing right now on my phone, and that'll give me a little chime here that'll tell me, hey, look, get out of this trade. So very simple here. Just give me 1 second. I'm setting my alarm now. 10:45. Done. Today's Monday and set. Okay, so I have my phone set because I want to make sure that's off there. And I think we're golden from this point. I don't see any other trades. We'll see in a few minutes here. For you, a microsecond. For me, several minutes to see if we can get into this trade. Looks like it is kind of really shooting off the mark here. We're about 16. Could come back up here and kind of maybe even fill us at that point. I might even trade this out just a little bit for 22. I'm going to amend that order for 22. Normally I do 25, but I'm going to do 22 at this point to see if we can possibly get filled even faster. All right, I'll see you in a few. All right, everybody, this is Max Farrow. We're back again. And in this little part of this segment here, you've seen me trade the NA intradays. And trading live with Max is not just about the NA intradays. It's also about the live daily signals as well. The dailies have always been a staple within my organization because there's always been a process that I've enjoyed with the dailies. And the one big process is that they're set and forget. They have a very high rate of success. They may not fill a tremendous amount of time, so you're going to have to put some working orders on and have a big enough balance. Sorry, hang on a second. Lots of beeping going off. Let me get rid of that one. That's what was holding us up there. All right, so on the NA intraday, just as we were talking to, another signal came out for the 10:15 mark for the British Gold Pound USD. Sitting at 86%, pretty good. 26.54 on the buy. I'm going to trust this market right now. 26. We're going to go in the British Gold Pound USD. We're going to look at the 8 to or 9 to 11. Yep. And that was on 26.54 on the buy. 26.54. There's 58. There's 48. Boy, these are a little off today. I'm going to go with this one right here. I'm just going to go straight. I'm only going to use one contract on, no, two contracts on this one here to kind of get in at that point. There we go. This is for the 11 a.m. Go back and look at the market here. Now, I trusted to get into that because I was looking at the market prior to. I should have probably done that while you were watching. I do apologize. I'm going to get the chart over here. Now, because we've broken through this margin head here, there's a great possibility of this trade failing at that point. But we're looking at 54. We're looking at 57. 26.54 is the mark we kind of want to be at on the buy on the above. Okay, so now both of my trades have filled up. One was on a working order on JPY. That's why I only put 2 on the British Gold Pound USD, because I'm staying at 3 contracts per portfolio. This is pretty good because it came back up and grabbed on. We're at 96. It's at 88, so we got about 8 pips from that margin. So I'm feeling pretty confident with this process. I'm not feeling good on the British Gold Pound USD at this time, but I'm going to let it continue to do its little thing here and play it. So we'll see you in a microsecond. All right, I've come back in because I am looking at the market on the British Gold Pound USD, and it's a very strong, of course, downtrend happening on a 15-minute chart. I go to the 1 hour. Everything's on a downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. Now, what I'm doing here is that I'm speculating that this market is in this little bounce up from the 2650 mark. Okay, that's a big mark on it. If it can stay away from the, if it can bounce off this 2650 mark, which is a very strong number, right? Let's hit there. Okay, it's got to kind of stay bounced off of that. So I'm waiting for this this margin to close out. If it pierces over the 2650 and closes over the 2650, I will get out of the market at this particular point. And why would I do that? Well, because 2650 is such a strong number, the O of the number, right, the 0 of the number, that if it pierces through it, it then becomes from support to resistance, which means that I only have a 2 pip margin at that point. Now, I'd be in a loss of about 33 bucks, about half of my position here. So, but I'd be saving myself 3/4 of my risk management here. So seeing that it's bouncing off of that, and we got about 36 minutes left here, I feel pretty excited about it. But I didn't get in at a great price. I got in at 21.70, 21.25, it looks like, from that position. So I didn't get in on a great price. I like to be, 22 to 25. So I'm, just under my $22 mark. So my profit margin would be about $19.75 per contract after fees. Another reason why I'm looking at staying in the market at this point, because we do have this very consistent trend, lower lows, lower highs process, and this very smooth counter trend process that happens on each valley. Now, we've hit our valley here, 2650, which is a strong hit. If we can show at least a couple, some more bounce off supports off of this for the bulls, then I'll be very, very confident. So here in about 6 minutes, I'll know if this 15-minute chart can pierce that 50, that 2650, or if the 5-minute or even one of the 1-minute charts do it on a consistent, then I'm gonna pull off. But that's basically how I judge the market. Now I've been fluctuating back and forth here above that 50 mark. So if I could stay that, the next half an hour is going to be doing a little bit of the same each one, validating whether or not that 2650 can get pierced. Not by just movement, but by closing. That's the big one. All right. I'm Max. This is Dex. We'll see you in a minute. Talk about cutting hairs. So I think we are going to pierce through now unless we can really flip around here. My position is getting a little bit more hokey. I think it is best if I run for the hills right now. I'm just going to give this another second or two. Famous last words, right? I really don't like how close that they played to the 2650. There we go. That's what I was kind of looking for. 2653. Going to kind of stick out just for a second here. This is why patience is very good. Remember, because we've come down, we've met our movement value about 8 pips. We kind of look at this value as it's pretty strong, 17 pips. This is on a 1-minute chart, by the way, heading down. You can kind of see that each valley, where's that valley average at? You know, 10, 30, that's 34 pips, but you could have looked at this one right here, 13 pips, right around 10 pips per each one. This one's only about 8, but we got a very strong number here on a 2650 mark. So still kind of looking at that process. Still hovering above the 50 mark, so I'm probably going to stick with this. I'm going to pause the video right now and see if I can make a case for staying into this thing. And I don't like heart attack trades. I don't like playing this game of the trade monster. Something might pierce down at that point and be the closeout of the last bar of the hour will usually happen at this point. So the last 5 minutes is where the trade is mostly lost. All right, I'm going to pause. We'll be back in a second. All right, so we did have a close down below on the 1-minute chart. I'm just going to kind of stay with this 5-minute chart looking at this. The one down below I don't think was at exactly. No, it wasn't. So here's 29.50 right there. Let me see what the close was on this bar here. Closeout was 26.49.1. Yeah, so it was a closeout just below it. But that's on the 1-minute chart. I'm going to look at the 5-minute chart here. We're still kind of dancing around here. It's playing its game. We'll look, the 15-minute is undecided. Still kind of playing its game. Nadex on its hand is sitting up about 26.52 on the top side there. It'd be nice that if I could get some time decayance happening. If you're not sure what time decayance is that on Nadex over a period of time, whether the price stands still, time shorting down to the expiry will increase the market value at points, depending on the market maker's generosity, we should say. So I've been playing this game now, waiting for just a really good point to get out of the trade now. Now that the market value has collapsed a little bit, time decayance has actually hurt us a little by taking it away because we're so close to this 26.48 right now. We're still 3 pips over, but the real battle here is fighting that number, okay? 26.50. I'd rather lose 43 than 160 at the moment. So I'm looking now. And some would say this is only 2 pips, but this is a battle for every 15 minutes and all the way up to the last part of the hour. It hasn't really closed below that process to a marginal level that I feel comfortable with. I mean, because this has been going on for some time now. How far down? Because you know what's going to happen. The moment I get out, it's going to go like this. Right? So I want 1 or 2 really strong bars. Look at that, 26.54, 26.58, 26.56. See, here we are now. That 26.50 is a very, very, very strong indicator. So if you want to know the O's are really big. Like, look, 26.60 right there. Big bounce off, right? 26.84, so 26.80 was another big bounce off, okay? They like these numbers. There's a reason why. So that's, I'm going to kind of sit here and hang on and fret over the next 10 minutes. Now, I'm hoping that the next 15 minutes will offer some time decayance. We'll get into the positive here. And that would be really nice. Like our Audi JPY has been doing what it's supposed to. It's been a good boy. Right? So now we're back up about 7 pips over. A little bit of patience, right? Could have got out at exactly at that point, but we valued it up. We valued up to the process to watch where was our heart attack line, and that's the 26.50 line, right? We got down just below so we could see it. And we're just hoping that this thing will kind of play off at this point. I could jump out now because the market has too much volatility. That could be your presence if you don't have a lot of ching to put behind this, and you're kind of playing. I want to pull out now to save get my $9 plus fees, $4 there, so I'm about $18 in the hole at that point. But I'm going to make that up on my other trade on the Audi JPY, which will be a for sure winner. It's 14 pips over, and we got 26 minutes left. So, but this British Gold Pound USD is a counter trend sniper move, if you will. It is playing off of that bounce and hoping that we can get to that point to be over again. But it doesn't have, I mean, this point won't resist another Could resist a few times. From looking at previous stuff here, 26.57. It resisted a few times. 26.60 resisted twice, maybe 3 times there. 26.80 resisted 4 or 5 times from that point. So that's a big hit there. On the minute chart, it resisted several times. So you can start looking at those things as your indication, if you will. I'm going to pause, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, now we've gotten to our second bar of bear, so I'm hoping that we get a nice little run of bear coming back up from this so we can get some margin on here. There we go. We're in the positive. Yay, that's always good. Whew. Was a little nervous there. Now I'm pretty sure that we have an opportunity here. That 10 pip movement may still happen over a period, but I think that we'll get at least enough of a push. If we look at previous history, looking left a little, as it came back down, it resisted just a little bit off of the previous margin. Even though that it came back up, it resisted just a tiny bit from this position, enough for it to close out to continue on. So if this bar can close out and one more bar in the bull, then we're home free. That's on the 15-minute chart. That's on the 5-minute chart. We're looking at the 15-minute chart of one full bull here, and about 8 minutes, 9 minutes, we'll know that if this is a home free. We do have a small resistance line happening right now here, but it's more of a zone than anything else because of this 26.50. 26, the whole numbers, the 50, the 40, the 30, the 80, all those have like a little range, 5 pips up and 5 pips down on it. That's the zone. That's where we're really at the zone. Now that the Dex MACD is curled up a little bit and we're getting this crossover hatch happening here, I'm really happy with that little bit of indecision. All we need to do is have it stutter for a little bit. Now that we've broken the 60s, I'm pretty sure that we're home free within this process. As long as within at 10:45 we can call it out and be done. This is how trading happens. If you're not prepared to do this, if you're not prepared to put the time in to watch this stuff, even at these smaller levels, as I'm incrementally crawling up my accounts to 4, 5, 10, 20 contracts a piece. Imagine when you have 10 contracts on, this would say 150. But when it was in the negative side, it would say minus 200. You have to have the security and the, let's just be honest, the balls, the gut, the tenacity to follow through and know your zones and know your structure. If you don't know your structure, if you don't have that, then you're just kind of guessing. Right? Follow the signals, do what you can, what trades to get in, what ones not to, all that kind of stuff, right? So I'll stop blabbing. See you in a microsecond. Okay, just real quickly, just to let you know, I hit 50% profit margin by hitting 21 because I have 2 contracts on for 21.75, whatever, so pretty close to 50% profit margin. Some people would say get out at that point, but being that we're so modulated into that we're really small in the ROI process, I'm going to stay in. I'm 13 pips up from where we were. My margin is pretty hard. But I think that the Audi JPY also hit its 50%, being at $11 right there. So this is a pretty good indication that the position is now going to be playing against itself a little bit. We got about 9 pips for the Audi JPY, and we're coming up to the 15-minute red zone of the trade. So these little tiny positions are important for your portfolio, because once you get them consistent and you know how to play these things and it becomes just second nature, yeah, you have some heart attack moments like you've seen in the very beginning, but you get to know where these positions are. So very powerful. But you'll see now that the market, even now, if this can close out on a 5-minute chart, you got 1, 2, 3, and usually get about 5 or 6 within there with a couple little downs. If we can get up right around in this area, 26.60, 4 or 5, we're home free, no problem. On the 15-minute chart, if we can close out one more above this little rock solid area right here, if we can close out above here, then we got this home free for it to travel up just a little bit and come back down, sort of to be a model what it was doing before. Okay, other trends. You can look for other trends in that market. This is a pretty big trend value to happen just overnight, 112 pips, and a nice steady downward run there. Again, this is what it looks like here on the 1-hour chart. Get familiar with your charting. Get familiar with your Your time frames are very important for you as well. And it will make you money. It will make you delicious money. I'm well above 50% profit margin now. I'm really excited about that because now I'm putting my hands in the air. I'm riding a roller coaster. I'm having fun. We're about to pull into the station here in about 15 minutes. The mentality behind the 15-minute red zone area is that this is where the most volatile part of the market happens, is the last 15 minutes of the trade. Now, the last 5 minutes is the most volatile. So if you're even close, if you're 3 or 4 pips to your mark, unless you got some strong indication, it's either try to get out with the good money or what have you. But if you're on a strong sell at this point, see right now we're 15 pips up, so pretty good. And on the other one we're about 11 pips up from the process, so I'm happy with that. I'll see you in a second. Oh, one last thing. Some people say when you get to about 70%, there's really no reason to stick around for the last $4 or $5, but there is. Okay, 70% of the position is a market maker play to get you out of the trade. Because they want to make a couple extra bucks back out of it. And that's okay. That's their deal, right? That's their gig. Offer you a really good deal. I always kind of contributed to be like car salesman, right? Why is that guy offering me $1,500 for that car? It's worth $20,000. But now that we're really hitting the margins, we're hitting, almost, I would say, 2 major deviations away of 50, 60, and now into the 70s. If we can break into 70s, then I'm getting out and I'm going to go get another cup of coffee. I'm not even going to sit in front of the screen anymore. Now, that alarm you just heard on my phone was mine for what I set for the 15-minute mark prior to the thing. Learn how to set, because if the Audi JPY hadn't filled by then, I was to take it off. But now I'm going to validate that the market is pretty strong from that point. The 15 minutes stayed up there. It's got another little support area here to bounce off at least one more time. I think we're pretty good. Even the Audi JPY is sitting at a very strong counter trend move right here above this 82.83. So I'm happy. I'm very, very happy because we got some good markets here. So I don't think we're going to have any problems whatsoever now. And with a 20 pip margin and what does that say? An 11 pip margin, 10 pip margin there, especially on the Audi JPY. All right, I'll stop bugging your ear and I'll see you in a minute or two. Well, for you, a microsecond. Okay, as a final here, we'll pause the video one more time here in a minute or so. The market has moved in such a fashion with the 2675 with a deviation upwards, and the Audi JPY sitting at 87, well below the 90 for the Audi JPY. So really, we're in the last 5-minute red zone here. Don't think we're going to be moving. Now, the one thing that I do have to give you warning about is that this structure is a beautiful compounding trend heading down, and everything sort of sets up almost perfectly. When we were pushing the factors, especially on the British Gold Pound USD, everything is looking really good. If this trend continues upwards and closes anywhere above this market now, that breaks that trend. So breaking of structure is very important, not with a piercing of a wick, okay, in the process, but if it closes out above these yellow lines up here, if it closes out above here and it really has an indication, it looks like it's going to try to get up to that next deviation of 2700, and that's even a bigger mentality. On the hundreds is really big, on the tens is really big, 20s is strong, of course, okay, but the hundreds are very strong. They do have a major indication, and usually have a 100 mark usually has a mark of 5 to 10 above, 5 to 10 below as a range. So keep that in mind. Okay, but we're just super climbing this. Now this is ridiculous. There's no way it's going to come down from that point to grab on. And the Audi JPY is very strong with us because it's being resisted by the 82.90 position. So again, knowing your marks in there. If you're watching this video and you haven't even bought into our company yet, sorry that this video has taken a little bit of time, but I wanted to explain all the details and the mentalities behind it. This is how I teach. Now, if you're a member of this company and a member of DexTrader.com, make sure that you're watching all these videos because there's little tidbits of information in every single one. Every micro tick and every micro movement of mine in there is calculated. I am patient. I try to watch the process. and to make sure that we're in the proper areas to be in. Any doubts that I may have or any of the process that I have in there, it's just my way of talking myself through the trade. To stay in, I'm debating myself whether or not to stay in, to stay with it, or go against it, or what have you. So this was a perfect setup. We had a working order fill with the Audi JPY, and we had the British Gold Pound that we got directly in for over $20 a contract. So I'm very, very happy with this trade. I hope you are too. We're in the last 2 minutes. I'm going to pause, bring it down to the last microsecond so you can see that it wins, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. Now, we're in the last couple of seconds here of the trade, down to the last minute, and I want to show you something. Even though that we were up at 31 bucks, the market makers are pulling out their trades now to a degree, right? But I still see a tremendous amount of bids offered. So this little price is just a mental tactic, if you will, on the part of the market makers. I see. Okay, so now I see some of their bids are being pulled out from the offer there. And I'm not sure what this is for the British Gold Pound USD at the 26.78 mark. You know, to offer to come in, but the movement here of being down to less than a half, or less than 50% of your profit margin is a little bit disconcerting to me, only because it's an odd move. Usually their market makers have pulled out the last 2 minutes. The last 30 seconds, oh no, okay, so they're still there. So I don't know, maybe this is somebody else's trades. There you go, all of them are gone now. There's no more trading at this particular time. They've gotten it out. So I don't understand some of the mentality behind some of the market makers stuff. Okay, and some of the trades. Now, Nadex is the exchange, the market makers that offer the, you know, whether or not they put them in and take them out and what they offer and all that stuff. But here we go, down to the last 5 seconds, another big win. Still doing very good on this portfolio. I'm very, very, very happy with this movement. And again, that was a good win. That was 22, let's see here, 22 plus 2170. Let me do this. 2175 times 2 plus 22 minus $6 for contracts. So $59 win right there, $59.50 win from that process. So why did that come back up? That's so weird. So I'm happy with that. We broke the $4,000 mark, my incremental crawl now. We'll jump up to 4 contracts per trade. And if you're probably here, there's another tone for another video. I'll see you next time. I'm Max, and this is Trading with Max on Dex Trader with Nadex. See you next time, and as always, trade well.